medyo malayo. Fourth year student na si Ate Sarah. Ngayon, may papakilala ko sa inyo. I want to introduce to you my classmates. Sila ang magiging teacher nyo ngayong araw na to. Who among you know the story Hansel and Gretel? Sino sa inyo nakakaalam ng story na Hansel and Gretel? Ang galing si Ate! Palakpakan mo! Ano pangalan mo? Alana. Okay, alam niya. Kayo, most of you don't know the story. So, makikinig po tayo mamaya, di ba? Iba sa inyo, hindi pa alam yung story, kaya makikinig tayo. Anong ginagamit natin pag makikinig? Tenga. Hindi ba mata? Hindi.
Sige, ready na kayo?
Ready na ba kayo sa story?
Sige, kwento.
Are you ready? So, ayun. Today, we'll be tackling about Hansel and Gretel. Sino ang may alam ng Hansel and Gretel?
Ang dami naman!
Yay! At the edge of the vast forest lived a poor woodcutter with his wife and their 2 children. The little boy was called Hansel and the little girl Gretel. And the family were so poor they hardly had anything to eat. Even worse, a great famine was threatening the land, and the woodcutter was finding it very hard to make a living. So, dun daw sa kagubatan, merong isang pamilya. Tapos, yung isa, woodcutter siya. Yung asawa niya, kasama niya, tsaka yung 2 nilang anak. Yung lalaki, si Hansel. Sino ulit yung lalaki?
Hansel!
Yung babae, si Gretel.
Gretel!
Yun. So, mahirap lang yung pamilya nila. Kaya nahihirapan silang magkaroon ng pagkain. One evening, when the children had gone to bed, the man sighed and said to his wife, "What is to become of us? How are we going to feed our children when we don't have anything for ourselves?" Yung pamilya nila, wala na silang makain, kaya naman problema sila kung saan sila kukuha ng pagkain. So, "Well, I have a good idea," answered his wife. "Tomorrow, early in the morning, we'll take the children to the biggest and darkest place in the forest. We will light a fire for them and give them each piece of bread. Then we will go to our work and leave them there. They will not be able to find their way back home, and we will be rid of them." Yung nanay ng 2 bata, nagkaroon siya ng plano. Yung plano niya, dadalhin niya yung 2 bata dun sa madilim na part ng forest para mawala yung 2 bata para hindi na sila mamamulay sa pagkain. "Oh, you fool!" exclaimed his wife. "If you don't do it, all of us will starve. Is that what you want?" She would give him no peace until he gave in. Hansel and Gretel were so hungry that they could not sleep and consequently have heard everything the woman said. So si Hansel at si Gretel, hindi sila makatulog. Narinig nila lahat ng sinabi ng mami nila sa daddy nila. Gretel started crying and said, "Oh, Hansel, what are we gonna do?" "Hush now, Gretel," said Hansel. "Don't worry, I will find a way to get us out of trouble." So, di ba nga narinig nila? Si Gretel, umiyak na siya kasi hindi niya alam yung gagawin niya. Sabi ni Hansel, "Huwag kang mag-alala. Gagawa tayo ng paraan para hindi tayo mapahamak." When his parents were asleep, Hansel got up, put on his clothes, and slipped outside. The moon was full and bright, and the little stones which lay in front of the house sparkled like silver pieces. Hansel bent down and filled his pockets with as many of the pebbles as he could carry. So, si Hansel, nung gabi na, nagbihis siya. Tapos lumabas siya sa bahay nila. Kinuha niya yung lahat ng mga pebbles, yung mga bato-bato, nilagay niya sa pocket niya. Then he went back inside and whispered to Gretel, "Sleep in peace, little sister. I have a plan which will save us." Then he went back to bed. Eh, di ba? Bumalik na si Hansel sa room nila ni Gretel. Tapos, early in the morning, an hour before sunrise, the women roused and the two children shaking them roughly. So, ginising naman nung nanay nila, si Gretel, tsaka si Hansel, nung umaga na.
Wake up, you lazy children. We all have to go to the forest to gather wood. She snapped. Then she gave each of them a little piece of bread and said, "This is your breakfast, but don't eat too soon because you won't get any more food today." So, ginising na sila ng nanay nila. Tapos, binigyan sila ng pagkain, ng tinapay. Sabi ng nanay nila, eto na yung breakfast nila. Pero huwag nilang uubusin kasi hindi na ulit sila bibigyan ng pagkain. Gretel put the 2 pieces of bread in her apron because Hansel's pockets were full of stones. Then they set off together to the forest. Before they reached the wood, Hansel stopped to look back at the house. He did this so often that his father became curious. Why do you keep stopping to look at the house?" he asked. "Watch out, you don't trip over your own legs." "I'm looking at my white cat," replied Hansel. "He's sitting on the top of the roof and wants to say goodbye to me." "Fool," said the woman. This is not your little white cat. It is only the rising sun that shines on the chimney." So, si Hansel daw, lingon dun sa bahay nila. Tinanong siya nung lalaki, sabi, "Bakit ka ba lingon sa bahay? Sabi ni Hansel kasi, nakita niya daw yung pusa nila. Tapos, yung pusa nila nasa itaas ng bubong. Sabi niya, gusto daw magbabay sa kanya nung cat. Kaya lang, sabi nung babae, hindi naman yun yung white cat ni Hansel. Yung sinagyan ng araw yung nakikita niya. But of course, Hansel had really been lagging behind so that he could play a trail with the stones, which he had hidden in his pockets. One by one, he dropped the pebbles on the ground. When they arrived in the middle of the forest, their father said, "Now, you two gather some wood and I will make you a fire so that you will not get cold." So, natatandaan niyo ba yung nilagay na stones ni Hansel dun sa pocket niya? Yung mga stones na yon, nilalaglag niya doon sa dinadaanan nila. Tapos, sabi ng tatay niya, mangunguha sila ng mga kahoy para gumawa ng apoy. Hansel and Gretel together did as he said, and soon they had made a pile of firewood as tall as a little hill. Their father lit the fire, and when the flames were burning high, his wife said, "Children, sit close by the fire and rest. We will go further into the forest to chop trees. When we have finished, we will come back for you." Hansel and Gretel sat near the fire, and at midday they both ate their little pieces of bread. All the time they could hear the sound of an ox, so they thought that their father was not far away. So, sabi ng nanay nila, pumunta sila malapit dun sa may apoy para hindi sila lamigan. Tapos, si Hansel at Gretel, lumapit sila dun sa apoy. Dun sila kumain ng tinapay na tinago ni Gretel. Tapos naririnig pa rin nila yung di ba pag nagpuputol ng puno, naririnig pa rin nila yun. Kaya ang sa akakala nila, malapit pa rin yung tatay nila sa kanila. But the noise did not come from axe at all. It was only a branch which their father had fastened to a tree, blowing backwards and forwards in the wind. At last, the children's eyes closed with exhaustion and they fell sound asleep. When they finally awoke, it was already dark. Gretel began to cry and said, "How will we find our way out of the forest?" So, dahil pagod na silang magkapatid, nakatulog na sila. Tapos, yung sound na naririnig nila, hindi pala yun yung tatay nila. Yun yung puno na nag-move lang siya backward saka forward. Tapos, pagkagising nila, sobrang madilim na. Tapos, umiyak si Gretel. Sabi niya, "Paano tayo makakalabas dito sa forest?" Nakakaalam nung explain niya. Ikaw, Apple. Sabihin mo yung nangyari dun kay Hansel at Gretel. It's a story. Alam mo yung nangyari sa story? Di ba yung si Hansel at Gretel, iniwan nung parents nila dun sa forest. Sino nakakaalam ng forest dito? Di ba yun yung maraming puno, nakakatakot. So dito, iniwan na sila nung father nila. At yung babasahin ko, yung gagawin naman ni Hansel at Gretel para makawala sila sa forest kasi sino man ang gusto na sa forest? Ikaw, boy. Takot ka sa forest dun sa madilim. Takot ka pag gano'n. Pag iniwang ka mag-isa sa madilim na lugar. Matapang si Boy. Anong name ni Boy? Julius. So, si Hansel at Gretel gumawa na paraan. So, ito na yun. As soon as the moon rose, Hansel took his little sister by the hand, and they followed the path of little stones, which glittered like silver pieces and marked the way home. It was almost daylight when they reached home. They knocked at the door, and when the woman opened it and saw it was Hansel and Gretel, she said, "You naughty children, where have you been all night? We thought you were lost." Their father was delighted to see them and welcomed them into the house. But it wasn't long before, once again, the children overheard the woman complaining to their father. "We only have half of loaf bread, and after that, we finish, there is nothing left to eat. We have to get rid of the children. We will take them even further into the forest so that they cannot find their way back. There is no other solution." So si Hansel at Gretel, after silang maiwan ng magulang nila dun sa forest, nakagawa sila ng paraan para makabalik dun sa bahay. Yung mother nila, yung mother nila ayaw sa kanila kasi hindi na sapat yung food nila. Hindi na, magugutom silang lahat. Kaya yung mother nila gusto, wala sila. Gusto, dun lang sila sa forest. Maiiwan sila ng mga magulang sila kasi hindi na sapat yung food nila. Magugutom. So ito, their father was heartbroken and thought it would be better to share the last piece of bread with the children instead of sending them away. But the woman did not want to hear any more about it and started to scold him until at last he gave in again. When their parents were asleep, Hansel got up and went to gather stones as he had done before. But this time, the door was locked and Hansel could not go outside. Nevertheless, he comforted his little sister and said, "Don't worry, I will find a way to get us out of trouble." Early in the morning, the woman got the children out of bed and gave them each a little piece of bread, even smaller than the last time. While they walked to the forest, Hansel kept stopping to drop crumbs on the ground, crumbled from the bread he had in his pocket. So, sino dito yung my brother at sister? So, yon, si Hansel at Gretel, nagtulungan sila para hindi sila maiiwan dun sa forest. Ang ginawa nila, kumuha sila ng mga stone. Kaso, ito yung second time. Hindi na sila makakahanap ng stone. Kasi nilock ng mama nila yung door. Hindi na sila makakakuha ng gamit para dun sa parang path nila, pabalik dun sa house. So,
I-imagine nyo kung ano yung sinasabi ko. Halimbawa, di ba, pag nasa forest, gusto ko makikita nyo yung itsura kung ano yung nangyayari doon, ha? Kaya makinig tayong lahat. O yan, simulan ka na. Nevertheless, he comforted his little sister and said, "Don't worry, I will find a way to get us out of trouble." Early in the morning, the woman got the children out of bed and gave them each a little piece of bread, even smaller than the last time. Diba? Nandun na nga sila sa forest. Diba yung kinuwento nila? O, gusto ko nakikinig kayong lahat sa akin, kuya. Kuya AJ, Kuya Gabriel, makinig kayo kay Ate Samsam.
Ako parang...
Oo, ang very good ni ate, nakikinig. Yay! Kaya kailangan lahat kayong makikinig para very good kayong lahat. O yan, di ba? Sabi, di ba, habang nandun sila sa forest, kasi nga, di ba, gusto silang iligaw. Kaya, di ba, nung nandun sila sa forest, edi, si Gretel, syempre, babae siya. Si Gretel, katulad nila ate, babae siya. Tapos, di ba, mabilis tayong matakot. Kagaya ni Gretel, natakot si Gretel. Kasi 'di ba, madilim nga dun sa forest. Sabi niya kay Hansel, sabi niya dun sa brother niya, sabi niya, natatakot siya, Hansel, anong gagawin natin? Sabi naman ni Hansel sa kanya, syempre, mga lalaki, 'di ba, kailangan matatapang tayong mga lalaki, 'di ba? O 'di ba, sabi naman ni Kuya Hansel, sabi niya kay Gretel, sabi niya, don't worry, sabi, huwag kang pag-alala, Gretel, ako ang bahala sa'yo. Makakaalis din tayo dito. Di ba, ang tapang ni Hansel, no? Tapos, nung umaga, di ba, natulog na sila kasi gabi, lahat, di ba, natutulog kapag gabi. Gabi na, edi pagkagising nila, di si Gretel. Pagkagising nila, binigyan ni Hansel si Gretel ng tinapay. Di ba, pag ganon, parang maunti na lang yung kakainin nila kasi parang wala naman silang kukunin. Diba? Kaya mas maliit yung pagkain, yung tinapay na ibinigay nila, yung kinain nila. Mas maliit pa dun sa kinain nila yung isang araw. Diba? Kawawa naman sila kasi wala silang masyadong pagkain. Itutuloy ko yung story, ha? While they walked to the forest, Hansel kept stopping crumbs on the ground, crumbled from the bread he had in his pocket. Hansel, why do you keep lagging behind? Said father. Hurry up! I am looking at my pigeon that is sitting on the top of the roof and wants to say goodbye to me, replied Hansel. Diba si Hansel, ang ginagawa niya nga, yung, diba yung sa tinapay, yung parang may mga tira-tira, alam niyo yun, diba yung pag tinapay, iginan natin, parang may maliliit na natitira. Ginagawa niya, kinikip niya, hinuhulog niya sa daan. Tapos tinanong siya ng tatay niya, syempre nagtataka yung tatay niya, kung anong ginagawa niya. Ito yung picture, oh. Wow! Diba, tinanong ng tatay, sabi, Hansel, ano bang ginagawa mo dyan? Sabi naman ni Hansel, kasi, diba, sikreto lang ni Hansel yung mga ginagawa niya. Sabi ni Hansel, tinitingnan ko po yung ibon, yung pigeon yun. O, ano nga yung ibon? Anong tawag sa ibon? Bird. Ang English sa ibon. Pero yung ibon na yun, pigeon. Isa siyang pigeon. Tapos, sabi ni Hansel dun sa tatay niya, Tatay, tinitingnan ko yung ibon. Kasi po, nagpapaalam po siya sa akin. Di sabi gano'n ni Hansel. O, itutuloy ko niyang story. Naiintindihan niyo ba? Gagaling naman. Sabi nung tatay niya, sinabi to nung tatay niya kay Hansel, sabi, You fool! Exclaimed the woman. That is not your pigeon. It is only the rising sun, lighting up the chimney. Hansel continued to secretly drop breadcrumbs along the path. Deeper and deeper. Gusto ko nakikinig kayong lahat kay ate.
Ako nakikinig.
Kuya, tayo po ikaw. Oh, very good yung mga nakikinig. Okay, may tutuloy na ni ate, ha? Deeper and deeper into the forest, they were taken where they had never been before in their lives. Diba? Yung tatay niya, di ba, sinabi nga ni Hansel, sabi, tinitignan ko po yung ibon ko kasi po, nagpapaalam po siya sa akin. Sabi naman nung tatay niya, sabi, ano ba yung ginagawa mo? Hindi mo naman yan ibon, sabi niyang ganon. Tapos sabi, pero si Hansel, tinutuloy pa rin niya yung ginagawa niya. Tuloy pa rin niyang inihuhulog yung mga tirtira ng tinapay dun sa daan. Tapos, hanggang sa nakarating na sila dun sa pinakamalayong mararating nila dun sa forest. Diba, nakakatakot dun? Yung sobrang maraming malalaking puno. Nakarating na sila dun. Tapos, di natatakot na sila. Yung nakita nila yung lugar na kung saan sila dinala, nakita nila na hindi pa nila yung napupuntahan. Parang bago pa lang yung lugar na yun sa paningin nila. Tapos sabi, as before, their father lit a big fire for them. And the woman said, "Stay here by the park. We are going into the forest to chop trees, and in the evening, we are finished. We will come to take you home again." Diba sabi, ang ginawa ng tatay niya, syempre malamig doon, diba? Pag malamig, gusto natin may mainit. Ang ginawa ng tatay niya, gumawa sila ng apoy. Diba pag may apoy, parang masarap sa pakiramdam kasi mainit. E di yun, sabi ng tatay niya, lumapit kayo dun sa fire. Pero lalapit lang, pero hindi gaano kalapit kasi baka masunog sila, di ba? Di ba? Ay di yun, nakapalibot sila sa fire. Sabi nung tatay nila, aalis muna kami, nagpaalam yung tatay, sabi, aalis muna kami, kukuha lang kami ng wood. Yung kahoy daw, kuha daw sila ng kahoy para may makagawa ulit sila ng apoy. Di ba? Tapos, edi nagpaalam na. At midday, Gretel shared her piece of bread with Hansel, who had crumbled his piece along the road. Then, they went to sleep. They did not awake until it was dark, and no one came to fetch them. Hansel comforted his little sister by saying, "Wait, Gretel, until the moon has risen. Then, we will be able to see the crumbs I have scattered. Then, will show us the way home." Diba? Natatakot si kasi diba, gabing-gabi na, tapos hanggang nakatulog na sila. Pagkagising nila, wala pa rin kumakaon sa kanila. Diba nangako yung mga magulang nila na babalikan sila dun sa forest, kukuha lang ng kahoy. Pero ang nangyayari, alam nyo ba yung nangyari? Hindi sila binalikan, diba? Hindi sila binalikan ng magulang. Di si Gretel, syempre, babae siya, takot na takot.
Next day, from the sunrise to sunset, without finding their way out of the forest. They were very hungry, for they had not had anything to eat other than a few wild strawberries that they had found growing by the path. At last, they were so tired that their legs could not carry them any longer. So they lay under a tree and fell asleep. Ayun, diba, solo lang sila doon sa forest. Nung gabi, nagising sila. So, di ba nag-iwan sila ng pat na yung mga galing yung sa bread. Ayun, pero hindi nila yung makita, kaya hindi nila alam yung daan nila pauwi. Tsaka gutom na sila. Kaya may nakita silang strawberry dun sa daan. Yun yung kinain nila. Tapos, nakatulog sila sa ilalim ng puno. The next day, they tried again to find their way home, but still, they only went deeper and deeper into the forest. Near midday, they saw a beautiful bird, as white as snow, perched on a branch and singing so beautifully that the children almost forgot their hunger as they stopped to listen. Then, the bird spread its wings and flew away. The children followed the bird to a little house. When they came closer, they saw with amazement that the little house was made of gingerbread and cakes, and the windows were made of brown sugar. Ayan, yung pinabukasan, pagkagising nila, hinanap pa rin nila yung daan nila pauwi. Pero hindi pa rin nila makita. Napapunta lang sila sa mas dulo pa ng forest. Tapos, may nakita silang isang ibon. Sinundan nila yon. Tapos, habang sinundan nila yon, napapunta sila sa isang bahay. Yung bahay, gawa siya sa mga pagkain. Yung sa gingerbread, tsaka sa mga cakes. "This is just what we need," said Hansel. "We'll make a good meal from it. I am going to start with the roof. Gretel, why don't you try some of the window?" Hansel climbed onto the roof and broke off a piece, while Gretel began to lift the windows. Yun, nagsimula na silang kumain dun sa bahay.
Suddenly, a soft voice came from inside. "Nibble, nibble, mouse. Who is nibbling at my little house?" And the children answered, the wind, only the wind." They carried on eating without another thought, as they were still very hungry. Hansel, who liked the taste of the roof, tore down a large piece of it, and Gretel pushed out the entire wind planet, which she sat began to nibble. Suddenly, the door opened and an old, bent woman came creeping out. Hansel and Gretel were so frightened that they dropped their sweets. So yun nga. So bago yan, ipapakita ko muna sa inyo yung picture nung lugar nila. Ito daw, yung bahay na to, puro puno-puno yan ng pagkain. Yan, yung mga masarap, yung mga candies, chocolates. Kaya doon sila nagbunta. Tapos ang hindi nila alam, may ano pala doon, may nakatira pala doon. Itong babaeng to. So yan, nung narinig nila yung ano, may kumatok kasi doon sa bahay.
Hindi ba kita nung nakada sa likod? Dali.
Yung kumatok sa bahay,
Julius,
nung may kumatok sa bahay, natakot sila.
Sila.
So yun, yan. Gusto niyo bang makapunta dito? Makinig muna kayo sa akin. Dali, makinig na kayo.
Ano yan?
Mamaya. Upo muna kayo. The old woman nodded her head and said, "My dear children, however did you get here? Come inside and stay with me in my house. You will enjoy it here." So yun, akala nila, natakot sila doon nung una pero mabait pala yung matandang babae. She took both children by the hand and led them to the little house. There, she gave them a delicious meal. Milk and pancakes with sugar, apples and nuts. Then she prepared 2 little beds in which Hansel and Gretel were soon fast asleep, thinking they were in heaven. So yun nga, kinupok muna sila ng matandang babae kasi naawa yung matandang babae dun sa dalawang bata. Tapos ang pinakain ng matandang babae, yung mga masarap na pagkain. Tapos nung gabi, pinatulog sila sa malambot na kama. So, dahil doon, akala nila parang nasa langit na sila. So yun. Now, this old woman seemed very friendly. But in reality, she was a mean witch who caught and ate little children. She had built her house of gingerbread to trap them. Then she fed them until they were fat enough to eat. This witch didn't have very good eyesight, but she had an excellent sense of smell. When she smelled Hansel and Gretel approaching the house, she laughed an evil cackle and cried, "They will not escape." So yun pala, yung matandang babae, nakala nila mabait. Ano pala yun? Masamang witch pala yun. Ang ginagawa niya, kinakain niya yung mga bata, yung mga makukulit. Kaya huwag kayong makulit, baka kainin ko yung witch. Gusto niyo ba makain yung witch?
Hindi po.
Ayaw, no, kaya makinig kayo. So yun.
Hansel grabbed him with her shriveled hand and took him to a small stable where she locked him up behind the door with bars for window. Then she went back to Gretel and shook her until she awoke. "Get up, you lazy child," she cried.
Why?
"Go and get me some water so that I can cook something nice for your brother. He is in the stable and has to be fattened up. As soon as he is fat enough, I will eat him." So, di ba, sabi nga kanina ni Kuya Edel, nandun daw, merong isang witch, may kumupkup sa kanilang isang witch, na akala nila mabait. So, ngayon, nandun sila dun sa loob ng isang bahay, kung saan yung bahay gawa sa candies, chocolate, cake, sa lahat ng sweets, masarap na pagkain. Ngayon, hindi nga nila alam na masama pala yung kumupkup sa kanila. Na meron pala silang hidden agenda. So, yung kumupkup sa kanila, isa palang witch. Ano may witch? Ano mo yun?
Ako hindi ako takot dito.
Oh, galing. Anong pangalan mo?
Yeah.
Ha?
Julius.
Okay. So ito, witch daw. Then, diba, si Gretel, ikinulong nung witch sa isang lalagyan na puro bar. So, pwede natin sabihin na kinulong siya. Then, sinabi nung witch, "Ikaw na, tamad na bata ka. Ikaw ay gumising. At kuha mo ako ng tubig para sa iyong kapatid." Para daw patatabain niya yung kapatid. Sino yung patatabain niya?
Kapatid!
Sino yung kapatid? Kayo naman eh.
Si Gretel.
Oh, tama. Si Gretel yung boy o yung girl?
Girl.
Oh, yung girl. So, patatabain si Gretel. Bakit daw patatabain si Gretel? Kasi kakainin niya kapag mataba na. So, next. So, Gretel began to weep, but all in vain. She was forced to do what the witch had ordered. The witch then prepared Hansel some of the best food. But to Gretel, she gave only crab shells. Every morning, the old woman crept into the stable and cried,
Hansel!
"Stretch out your finger so I can feel if you have become fat." But Hansel stretched out a little bone he had found on the floor, and because the witch was short-sighted, she thought it was his finger and was surprised that he was not getting any fodder. 4 weeks passed by in this way. Hansel remained thin, and eventually her impatience got better of her. One day, she decided that she could not wait any longer.
Hurry up, Gretel. Bring me some water.
She ordered the young girl.
Whether Hansel is fat or thin,
"I will kill him and cook him tomorrow." So sabi doon, diba pinapakain nga niya si Hansel. Kaso, na-discover niya, habang tumatagal, hindi tumataba si Hansel. Siguro, sa tingin niyo, bakit hindi tumataba si Hansel? Ayun, hindi kumakain. Siguro, yung mga ibinibigay na pagkain sa kanya, hindi niya kinakain kasi ayaw niyang makain siya ng witch. Diba? Kasi sabi ng witch, ang kinakain daw niyang mga bata, yung matataba. Eh di kung mapayat siya, hindi siya kakainin ng witch. Diba? So, yon. Pero, hindi ka kakainin ng witch, no?
Ako hindi takot sa witch.
Oh, brave. Tapos, kaso, hindi ka wits. Hindi ka takot sa wits. Okay?
Bakit takot dyan? Hindi ko takot sa witch.
Brave. So, kaso, dumaan yung ilang weeks. Uy, nakikinig pa ba kayo? Yon. So, lumipas yung ilang linggo na napansin nga doon nung tumataba si Hansel. Nag-decide siya, kahit mapayat ba, kakainin na niya si Hansel. So, Gretel wept and wept. "If the wild beast in the forest had eaten us, we would at least have died together," she sobbed. "Spare me your whining," said the witch. "It will not help you in any way." The following morning, Gretel had to fill the big cooking pot with water and light the fire. So, nanatili pa rin matapang yung magkapatid, si Hansel at si Gretel. So, alam naman nila na kapag kahit anong mangyari, sabay silang mamamatay. So, sinunod na lang ni Gretel yung utos. So, naghanda siya ng isang malaking pot. Alam niyo yung pot? Yung pot ay isang malaking palayok. Kung saan, dun niluluto yung mga pagkain. Alam niyo yun? Ayun.
Sabi ng witch, first, we will bake some bread. Alam niyo ba yung bread? Ayun, nakain tayo nun, di ba? Yun muna yung pinapagawa ng witch. Tapos, I have heated the oven and kneaded the dough. She pushed poor Gretel towards the burning flames that came out of the oven. Creeped inside to see whether it is warm enough so that we can put the bread in. Gretel guessed that once she was inside, the witch would close the door and roast her to eat as well. So she scratched her head and pretended to look puzzled. Ayun, sabi nung witch kay Gretel, kilala niyo ba si Gretel? Si Gretel yung girl. Si Gretel yung girl. Sabi ng witch, pinalapit si Gretel sa pot. Si Gretel sa pot. Tapos sabi, tingnan mo kung mainit. Tapos, ano sabi ng witch kay Gretel? kakainin siya pag lumapit si Gretel. Ang ginawa ni Gretel, sabi ni Gretel, I do not know how to get inside. Nagkunwari siya na hindi niya alam kung paano makapunta dun sa loob. Tapos sabi, oh, you stupid goose, said the witch. The opening is big enough. You see, I even fit inside myself. Ayun. Eh di yung witch pinapapasok na si Gretel dun sa pot. O di ba alam niyo naman yung pot? Sabi ni Gretel, po alam kung paano pumasok dun sa loob. Tapos sabi ng witch, ang laki-laki ng ano niyan. Ang laki-laki niyan para makapasok ka. Kasya nga ako dyan, di ba? Sabi ng witch, kasya siya. E di nung lumapit yung witch, ano sa tingin niyo ginawa ni Gretel?
Sinunog.
Hindi niya sinunog. Tinulak niya yung witch dun sa pot para yung witch yung masunog. Tapos, Gretel ran quickly to Hansel, opened the stable door and cried, Hansel, we are free! The old witch is dead. Ayun, pinatay niya na daw yung witch. Tapos, pumunta siya kay Hansel. Tapos, how they danced with joy and hugged each other. Then, as they had nothing to be afraid of any longer, they went through the entire house. Nung magkasama na sila ni Hansel, naglibot sila dun sa house. Ito pala yung nangyari, yan o. Yan. Yung witch, nung tinignan niya na yung pot, diba? Hindi kasi ayaw ni Gretel pumunta doon. Hindi yung witch yung pumunta doon sa pot. Ginawa ni Gretel, tinulak niya yung witch. Di yung witch, nahulog siya dun sa kumukulong tubig. Tapos, patay na yung witch. Laughing, the two children gathered up as much treasure as they could carry. Hansel filled his pockets and Gretel filled her apron. Now let's go quickly. I'm sure we will now be able to find our way out of this bewitched forest, said Hansel. After they had walked through the forest for an hour or two, the children arrived at a great river. We will not be able to get over the other side, said Hansel. I don't see a bridge or raft. Ayun. Pagkatapos ni Gretel palayain si Hansel, di magkasama na sila. Tapos, nag-embrace sila. Tapos, talon sila ng talon. Ang ginawa nila, di ba patay yung witch? Hindi na sila takot. Ang ginawa nila, nilibot nila yung buong bahay. Tapos, madami silang nakitang treasure. Alam mo ba yung mga treasure? Kayamanan yun, di ba? Tapos, kinuha nila lahat. Si Hansel, yung mga nakuha niyang treasure, nilagay niya sa bulsa niya. Tapos, si Gretel, nilagay niya sa apron niya. Tapos, nung lumabas na sila ng bahay, di natakbo na sila para makaalis sila. Wala silang makitang bridge or raft. Kailangan nilang dumaan sa isang river. Alam niyo ba yung river? Yung river, ilog yun. Kapag tumalon ka doon, malulunod ka. Pag hindi ka marunong lumangoy. Sino ba dito marunong lumangoy? Kailangan matuto kayong lumangoy, ha? Nung dumating sila sa river, hindi sila marunong lumangoy. Wala sila makitang beach o kaya raft.
There's not even a boat. Baka, sabi ni Gretel. But look, there is a white duck. If I ask it kindly, perhaps it will help us to cross the river. Tapos, inisip niya na kapag tinanong niya yung duck, alam niyo yung duck? Ano nga yung duck? Yung naganan? May naganan yung diba? Yung puwet? Kaya mo yun yung naganan yung puwet? Quiet everyone! Tapos sabi ko ba, sino nga si Gretel? Little duck, do you see? Hansel and Gretel are waiting for thee. There's never a plank or bridge inside. Take us across on your back so wide. So parang sinasabi dito ni Gretel, pasasakayin daw sila nung duck sa likod. Ito parang ganito, oh. Look. Yan. Sakay din kayo sa duck. The duck swam towards them right away and Hansel seated himself on its back. Sumakay daw sa likod ng duck. No! Both of us will be too heavy. It will take us across one by one. Isa-isa lang daw silang dadaan, sasakay dun sa duck.
When they were both safely on the other side of the river, they started walking again. So naglakad na lang sila. As they walked, the forest became more familiar and the children began to see things that they recognized. Tandaan nyo yung dinaanan nilang forest kanina? Yung may nilaglag na mga tinapay? Yun din yung dinadaanan nila. No. At last, they gave a glad cry as they hearing where their own home was. Para nakikita nila na yung bahay. Di ba kayo kapag nakita nyo na yung bahay nyo, saya ako kasi syempre uwi na ako, maglalaro na ako, kakain na ako, di ba? Then the children began to run. Nakita sila. Kasi excited na sila umuwi. Kayo ba? Oh? Di pwede mag-aaral tayo. They burst into the house and flung their arms around their father's neck. The man was overjoyed to see his children safe and sound. He had not known what they are since he had left them behind and his wife was now dead. Gretel emptied her apron pocket and the pearls and precious stones rolled around the room. Tinanggal na daw ni Gretel kinuha niyang treasures dun sa bahay. Saan nga sila nanggaling? Sa kulungan. Then, yung kulungan ay sa bahay ng witch, no? Tapos, at last, all their worries were over. From that day on, the family never knew a hungry day and they all lived together in perfect happiness. So, tapos na yung book. May naintindihan kayo? So, dapat children, hindi tayo sasama dun sa hindi natin kakilala. Malay nyo kung anong gawin sa inyo. Tulad doon sa witch. Malay nyo yung samahan nyo pala, witch pala, tapos kakainin pala. O, papatabayin kayo, tapos kakainin pala kayo.